Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new F1 2020 video. Today we're going to be taking the Tauri around Zandvoort, the Dutch track, which is brand new to the F1 series, and I'm looking forward to this one. It's totally banked corners and it reminds me a bit of Germany, and in that aspect Germany's gone off the calendar now, so this is probably one of my favorite tracks at the moment. So we're going to jump straight into the driving. This is the final bank turn before we exit onto the pit straight. And as you can see, you can get nice and close to the wall there to maximize your exit on your run down to turn 1, which is also another banked corner. I love all of these banked corners. It just, I don't know, there's something about it. Kind of reminds me of motocross berms when you enter in and just chuck so much speed and the car just responds because of the ability to grip onto the circuit. And anyway, we're running through this long swooping section of the track and it's quite flowing. Hugging the outside of the track before chucking it in, downshifting twice through that right hander. You can spin out on that curve, so be careful. And also with that tighter right hander curve there, this corner is deceptive, easier to hit the miss the apex on that corner, and hugging the outside of the track once again before hitting the apex nicely, getting a good run through onto the exit curb and opening the DRS into what is this really tight section of the track into this hairpin. There is a very stacked curb there. You want to make sure you mount it as much as possible before trying to get a good exit without touching that exit curb, or else you will slip a bit too much. Try and avoid that inside curb on the penultimate corner as much as possible before entering the baked turn and getting as nice and close to the wall on the outside as possible, maximizing your run down into turn 1 once again. These curbs aren't as violent as they were in F1 2019 in the low speed corners. However, in the high speed corners you can still unsettle the car with the unloaded tires, so make sure that you create a balanced setup for that occasion when you're trying to race consistently. However, in time trial I'm just trying to set the quickest lap time as possible, and therefore I'm running a pretty aggressive setup, and therefore if I did touch a curb through a high speed corner, there's a big chance that I would spin out. Another thing that I found with this game, it's more beneficial to run a high ride height so you can attack the curbs a lot better. Also, if you do get oversteer, increasing the front roll bar is also really helpful. It's like more noticeable than ever if you just increase it like 1, 2, 3 clicks. It makes a huge difference if you are running higher downforce. In particular, I was running close to a normal default setup around this track at first, but then I decided to run higher downforce, and I think I was running 9.7 wings with this Tauri. Normally I would run, I think it was 8.8 wings with one of the faster cars to try and set a competitive lap time around here, but I just had to increase the downforce slightly more for this circuit in the Tauri. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section down below and I'll try and address them in the next video I create. If you want anything in particular that you want to see, also let me know in the comments down below. That way I can try and make content based around what you most want in the near future. So yeah, this circuit has got to be one of my favorites. It's satisfying to drive and it reminds me a lot of Germany, except you are high, like at the moment I've been running a lot higher downforce than I have been in most tracks around F1 2019, so I'm not sure how the setup evolution is going to go with this game at the moment. Obviously there's still changes to be made, but at the moment I've found that at a circuit like this, at least running higher downforce seems to be a bit more beneficial than what it would in 2019 for comparison. As you can see, there's only 3 ERS modes available to us at the moment. It's locked in at 3, the third ERS mode, and that is, I'm guessing, the maximum. So there is also rumors of an overtake button, but that is yet to be confirmed by Codemasters. I think Arava and TR Limitless were talking about the overtake button, so we'll have to stay tuned to find out whether that is true or not. If it does happen, then it's going to be a huge relief. It already is a huge relief to the league racing community and the new players community, for a lot less to manage when getting stuck into the game. It's just more satisfying to drive without having to micromanage all these little settings and all these little details when you're entering a corner, like the brake bias, the fuel, the ERS mode, DRS, and then you got all these things that you got to manage while racing other cars on the circuit. So for them to take away a bit of that kind of stress that you get from the game that actually isn't as realistic as it is in real life, because the F1 drivers have stated already that they only press a button for overtake mode and they don't actually manage the ERS modes. That's a good thing that they've done for the game, so I'm glad that they've introduced that into this game at least, and it should at least help out a lot of drivers that are starting off the game brand new and get them up to speed quickly. So this was the setup in full that I was running for the AlphaTauri around the Netherlands circuit, and as you see, 97 wings, and also a bit of a weird camber angle this time actually. This is a setup that I came up with myself. I saw earlier that Tyrrell Limitless copied my setup from earlier, and I actually beat my time, but I developed a better setup. This was more comfortable for me, and it was a lot easier to set a quicker lap time around the track with more downforce. So I did manage to beat his lap time at the end, so quicker than Mr. Extra Rotation at the moment, but I'm sure he'll get me when he actually puts in some more hours into this game. So currently my fastest time is a 109.2. I think people would easily manage to get into the 1 minute 8 as soon as people find a better setup and practice the game more. Obviously I haven't spent that many hours on the game itself. It's in its early stage of the life cycle, so I'm looking forward to see what people bring to the setup and how that's going to evolve in the future. If you didn't know already, we can adjust each individual tire pressure. Now that is also a new addition to the game in comparison to F1 2019. So I'll be also curious to see what people come up with in those circumstances where there's more left turns or right turns in a circuit, where maybe even with the banking in this circuit you might run higher or lower tire pressures in the left or right tires, but I'm not sure how I'd go around doing that completely myself just yet. So I've just stuck with the same tire pressures with the front two and the rear two. So in general, the track feels pretty smooth. Obviously the curbs, you can attack them as much as you like in the low speed corners. The penultimate corner is a bit awkward. I try to avoid the inside curb as much as possible. You can kind of just tag it upon your entry, but trying to avoid it as much as possible and downshifting twice is probably the way to go. You want to maximize that run onto the banked exit as fast as possible to carry the most amount of speed into turn 1. If you didn't already know, I talked about this in another video. You cannot spam down the gears anymore. You can't go from 8th gear to 1st gear instantly or as fast as you can click the downshift button. Around the 3rd, 4th gear mark, that's when the game actually starts to slow you down, and it's more realistic in that regard as to how you're going to be taking corners with downshifting. You can't just like spam from 8th to 1st. It's just not realistic. It's not what the real F1 drivers do. It puts an enormous amount of strain on the engine in real life, and it just wouldn't happen. So for the game, they've actually incorporated a way to slow people down and make it more realistic in that aspect. So if you jump into the game and try to spam down gears to try and stop yourself from understeering or just going too far deep into the corner, downshifting isn't going to save you this time. So make sure you apply as much pressure to the brakes as you can without locking up, and stay in higher gears. The game rewards staying in higher gears. It's a lot more grippy, better exits. The turn-in's better in higher gears at the moment now, so you don't actually need to use super low gears like 1st or 2nd so much to rotate the car. You can just trust the downforce. Mid corner is when the downforce you can really feel kicks in, and you can actually feel the drag reduction kick in when you open up the DRS as well, because the aerodynamics in the rear wing open up, and you can actually feel kind of like a boost going on there. So yeah, you can feel a fair few different characteristics coming to this handling model. They're all welcomed additions. Like, I think to be quick, you had to actually downshift into a specific gear to get extra rotation, as Tyrrell Limitless always hunts for. But in this game, it's all about being smooth and staying in a gear that's appropriate for the corner that you're about to enter into. I'm just going to finish up this video with leaving you with footage of a hot lap with no talking over the top, so that way you get a a good hearing for the game and what it sounds like with raw audio, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all in a brand new one. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you want to help the channel out, and I'll see you all in a brand new one.